Oh, they're running.
What is this monkey silence? Is that the family? Passed away?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Wednesday, December 14th, 2016. At this time, we invite you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that you all join in with us for a moment of silence for Mr. John Van Geysen, who passed away recently. Thank you. First on the agenda, the approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of the executive session of May 25th, 2016 be approved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, approval of warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the following warrants be approved. Warrant 24A-17 in the amount of $74,379.23 payroll. Warrant 24B-17 in the amount of $135,784.55, and warrant 24C-17 in the amount of $535.32, all dated December 14th, the last two being accounts payable, be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Correspondence. We have one piece of correspondence from Comcast regarding programming changes. We have a letter that came to us from Comcast Cable, and it reads, "Dear Chairman and members of the Board of Selectmen, as part of our ongoing commitment to keep you informed, we want to let you know that Comcast's right to continue carrying Fox College Sports Atlantic, Fox College Sports Central, and Fox College Sports Pacific will expire on December 31st, 2016. At this time, we lose authorization to continue carrying Fox College Sports signals, so we must remove the program from our lineup on January 1st, 2017. Not too bad. Announcements, I'll start these. Trash bags, shops, disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. You may call 508-669-6431 for more information. If you need fuel assistance this winter, call Citizens for Citizens at 1 Taunton Green, Taunton, Mass. at 508-823-6346. Again, for fuel assistance, 508-823-6346. The burning season is January 15th through 2016 through May 1st, 2016. Permits may be obtained at the Dighton Fire Station at 300 Main Street for $10. Please make checks payable to the town of Dighton, and we ask that you only pay by check. No cash accepted.
That should be 2017.
17, yes. We already passed January through May.
They all say,
2016.
everybody tells me I live in the past, so. There is a winter parking ban in effect from November 1 through April 1 of each year. No parking is allowed on any street during this time. The police department is already reminding residents in advance of any inclement weather. Some of you have already made us aware that the police have been notifying people, and some leaving little notes on their windshields, that it's time. November 1st is already a month by, and that there's no parking allowed on the streets. Landfill stickers available for 2017 at the transfer station. Payment by check made payable to the town of Dighton for $10.
Didn't we raise
We
that?
raised that to 15. $15. Registration is required for the vehicle being permitted, and remember, stickers are not transferable. We've made a slight change this year. No longer are these stickers available at Town Hall. You must purchase them at the transfer station, and at the same time, the attendant at the transfer station will put the sticker on your vehicle. This will avoid any confusion on people just holding on to their registration sticker and using it for different vehicles, and letting people that are unauthorized to use a transfer station to use a sticker. There is a $1,000 fine for unauthorized use. Please keep that in mind. Also, please check the town website for updates during all snow emergencies. Town censuses are being mailed. Please complete them and return them as soon as possible. Absentee ballots are now available at the town clerk's office for the upcoming January 10th special election concerning the new police station that was approved at the recent special town meeting. Is that the right date, the 10th? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Town,
Yeah, that's just a repeat.
repeat and repeat. Nomination papers for the April town election will be available beginning January 3rd, 2017. Santa Claus will be visiting the Dighton Public Library on December 18th. There will be no delay in trash or recycling pickup during the week of Christmas and during the week of New Year's Day. Your scheduled day on an ordinary week without holidays will remain the same. The food bank distribution will take place December 17th, 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the lower level of Town Hall. Any complaints or concerns regarding your Comcast service should be addressed to the representative for the town of Dighton, and that representative's name is Robert Sullivan. You may call him at 781-688-8171 or email at robertsullivan@comcast.com.
It's actually Robert_Sullivan. It's super hard to see on the paper. At Comcast.com. If you email robertsullivan@comcast.com, you probably won't get a response.
So just call him at 781-688-8171. And Senator Mark Pacheco, or a representative, will be at the Dighton Council on Aging on Tuesday, December 20th, 2016, from 12:45 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. And also at the Dighton Town Hall on the same day from 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome, but if you'd like to set up an appointment, please call 508-823-0095. And we have one more announcement for the elected official with expiring terms. Nancy, would you like to read these?
Sure.
We'll all take turns. We'll be reading them for a few weeks.
Okay. The following positions will be on the ballot for the April election. Board of Assessors. It's a 3-year term, and the current assessor whose term will end is Pamela J. Waller. On the Board of Selectmen, 3-year term, and the outgoing selectman is Dean Cronin. There are 2 vacancies on the DR School Committee. I should say there are 2 positions that will be up for election, both 3-year terms. One is Eliza Kuchar, and one is Janice Terry. For the Housing Authority, a 5-year term. The position that will expire is Jeffrey Alley. Parks and Recreation, 3 years, and that's Heidi Swist. Planning Board, Joseph Figueredo, 5 years. Public Library Trustees, 3 years, Ronald J. O'Connor. There's a vacancy, as a current vacancy on the Board of Sewer Commissioners. That is a 3-year term, and that will be up for election in April. And the last one is the Town Moderator, William McKeon. That's a 1-year position.
Thank you, Nancy.
Welcome.
So all those people out there who have been so anxious to get involved in town politics, there's some openings this year, and we urge you all to come out and take out nomination papers. Old business, I don't think we have any. No business. New business. Tonight, we have a guest with us, Mr. John O'Rourke, from the Southeast Regional Planning Economic Development Department regarding the status of the energy aggregation in Dighton. John has very graciously asked if he could come back and give us an idea, an update of how this electric aggregation has transpired in the past year. John, welcome.
You're number 51 to stand at that podium.
What's that?
You're number 51.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you come back, you don't get a new number.
Okay, that's fine.
You only get one number.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for letting me come before you tonight. I want to give you an update on how our aggregation program is working. If you recall, we started this program in January, and this was under the auspices of the Southeast Regional Planning and Economic Development District, known as SERPED. It was fostered by Ross Perry, who's in charge of management services at SERPED. And I'm going to go over these pages briefly and go into depth on the important ones. The purpose of the aggregation is to lower prices for residents for electricity, to give them stabilized prices for longer periods, and to give them more options for renewable energy in that mix if they want it. We're accomplishing those goals throughout this aggregation. As you can see on page 3, these are the communities that are in the present aggregation. It's the largest aggregation in the Commonwealth. It is the 3rd largest buying group in the country. We're a national firm. We work not only in Massachusetts, but in all the states that have aggregation. That's about 6 states right now. There are about 10 or 12 states that have aggregation going through their legislations for approval. So you can see we've got over 565,000 residents involved in this aggregation at this point. The next slide is just the bill and just shows the fact that the only change on the bill for National Grid is that supplier line that basically says who the supplier is. Everything else is the same. Everything else continues to be, the billing continues with National Grid. All the service issues are National Grid. The only difference is the supply. On page, slide 5, again, these are some of the benefits of aggregation, and I'm sure you're all familiar with these, so I'm not going to go over these in detail. It's just what we're able to accomplish by going out strategically to purchase electricity at times of the year when it's most advantageous. On slide 6, you can see a 10-year history of the National Grid pricing. You'll note as you get further to the right on that chart, volatility increases. If we were to have that another bar on that chart, we're expecting that winter rate next year to go up significantly because of increases in capacity charges, especially in the NEMA area. Luckily, you're in SEMA, so you won't be affected quite as badly, but up in the north, because of the closing of older power plants, they're going to see major increases in their electricity rates. The important...
I'm sorry, I don't
ahead,
mean to
Brett.
interrupt and get you off your flow.
No, no.
If you are expecting increased prices next winter, does Good Energy, does Nat Grid expect many communities to opt out, or many residents to opt out, or anything like that? Will they still be paying more if they were not in the aggregation than if they were?
We're going to get a better price than you're going to get from National Grid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not expecting many people to opt out. The important chart is on page 7. This is the National Grid rate projections. You can see we started this aggregation back in January. So we had savings in that first bar to the left. Our price is the yellow line that goes straight across. We had significant savings in that first portion. We were slightly over their rate during the summer. Right now, we are back under their rate. Their rate is the blue line. And we're expecting in the next 2 periods that their rates are going to be significantly higher than ours. So we're projecting some pretty good savings throughout the 2-year contract of the aggregation. One of the reasons why National Grid was able to get reasonably good rates for this past summer was because if you look at that natural gas chart, you can see that it was just happened that when they have to go out to bid, and they do have to go out to bid at specific times of the year, the natural gas rate was at the low point. That's coincidental, and we don't expect that to happen for this next rate change. On the next page, you can see the number of residential accounts for Dighton stayed pretty fairly even and consistent from January through September. There were some ins and outs, but essentially it's pretty consistent. Cumulative savings, about $41,000. We're expecting, that was a little low because we're expecting that summer rate, we weren't expecting it to be as low for National Grid. As I say, in those next 3 periods, it's going to be much higher than our rate, so those savings will go up substantially.
Was this for just Dighton? I think I might have missed that. Yep. Nice.
I'm sorry, Brett.
Was the 41,395 just for Dighton? What Dighton residents?
Yes, just for Dighton.
Awesome.
Yeah. On the last term there, you can see this term expires in January 2018, a little over a year from now. We're going to start watching the market to buy strategically as of March. We're also speaking with a couple of new suppliers that are interested in coming into the market, so that'll increase competition. And what we're going to start doing in March, as I say, is looking at the market and informing the members of the aggregation how the market is going, and when there's a time to buy, to renew that January 2018 contract. We'll let everybody know when it's advantageous to go out and to renew that. Again, one of our strengths is the fact that we can go out to bid at times that are strategic for the aggregation. The utilities are limited to going out at very specific days of the year. And unfortunately, that's a big advantage, especially for those people who are still on National Grid pricing. So essentially, our update, we're fulfilling our goals for the aggregation. We've lowered prices, we've stabilized prices. There are some people who have opted to go in for more renewable energy. But essentially, as I say, we're expecting over the next 3 adjustments for National Grid, it will be well below their pricing. And those savings will go up significantly. Questions?
So as of September 2016, there were 1,684 Dighton residents involved?
Yes. And that's only your residential accounts. There are some business accounts as well, but we didn't count those because this is essentially a residential program. But there are some small businesses involved as well.
John, do you have a ballpark figure of what the aggregation total savings was for the 24 communities?
I don't have that figure with me,
Ballpark, maybe?
but we're expecting the total over the 2-year term for the whole aggregation to be about $15 million in savings.
Wow.
That's what we're predicting. So that'll be significant.
I know, I have another residence, another property, another town, and they're serviced by Eversource. And that summer, couple months, they had dropped down below what we were getting there.
Slightly below, yeah.
However, October 1st, they jumped up to 13.8.
Yes, yeah,
Big jump
yes,
at once. And they have another one coming in January.
yes, yeah, yeah. So it's, again, it's because of the fact that they can only buy at certain times that they're at a disadvantage. We can buy strategically. We're in the market every day because we also have a large commercial and industrial clientele on a national basis. So we have a department that watches the market every day. So we have kind of an advantage because we know what's going on in the market. And again, the utilities can only purchase on those two days for 50% of their load for a year. So it's not advantageous. It's not the best way to do it.
There was a story on television within the last week that hydropower from Quebec would be coming into the northern part of New England. So will any of that power be in the supply mix, so to speak?
Any power that comes into the New England grid, which is all of New England, which is run by ISO New England, okay? Anything that comes across into the grid, some of it comes from Canada, some comes from New York Hydro, some of it even comes over from Long Island, okay? Any of that is going to be in the mix.
Okay.
And especially now, since you have a number of power plants that are being shut down, that's why your capacity charges are going up. And essentially, those are charges that ISO basically has to have more plants, like the older coal plants and the oil plants, in reserve for spikes. You know, we have a situation in the next couple of days where the temperature's going to go down into the single digits. So that's going to spike electricity prices, because even today, I have an app from the ISO where I can, at a moment's notice, figure out what's happening with prices. And right now, in the mix, we have 14% coal. That's natural gas, that's nuclear, that's renewables in green, that's coal in dark blue. So you can see we're already starting
Oh, and there's 7% hydro.
to bump up those coal plants.
Yep.
So that means even our little Dighton power plant down the road will be generating.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. They'll either be generating or they'll be on standby.
Right. Right.
And they get paid well to be on standby because some of these plants take up to 24 hours to get up online. So, you know, that slice where they're not producing any real electricity, they still have to be paid for that. So that's what happens. Normally, you won't see any coal in this mix, or you might see a small slice of 1 or 2%. 14 is only when it gets either really cold or really hot.
I noticed yesterday when I crossed the Braga Bridge, the coal pile at Brayton Point is down, but it's there. You know, so they're generating,
Yes,
or will generate. In other words, they've still got fuel out there.
right. But they're going to be offline as of, I believe it's April or May next year. So,
Well, as I say, it's usually a mountain or mountains of coal. And as I crossed the river yesterday, I noticed that it's down. It's not a mountain, but it's a good-sized hill.
yes. Yeah. Other questions?
Does just last question, I promise. 1684, I believe the town clerk told us last week or the week before that the population in town is now around 7,900. Do you have any?
Those are households, so.
Now, this is
You're right.
by count, this is household
And
accounts.
remember, the north end is TMLP. They're not in
Right.
this mix.
That's right.
That's why there's the difference, okay? I think what's interesting here is Westport actually has both National Grid and Eversource.
Yes, they do, they're split. I believe it's about 80% National Grid and about, well, no, it's the other way around. It's about 5/8. So you have about 60% of Eversource and about 40% of National Grid. It's unusual that a town will be split up like that, but it happens once in a while.
Well, it's like Dighton. We've got part municipal and we've got part National Grid,
North Dighton is,
TMLP,
right, it's part of what?
Taunton Municipal
Right.
Lighting Plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got two suppliers in town. Just for
Those
the,
people up there in North Dighton are totally separate from you.
Right.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, yes. Just for the benefit of the public, I'll read the names of the communities that are involved, and again, the only ones that are not involved, per se, are those supplied by, in this area, by TMLP, which would be Berkeley, Raynham, Taunton. Anyhow, the communities that are involved in this aggregation: Acushnet, Attleboro, Carver, Dartmouth, Dedham, Dighton, Douglas, Dracut, Fairhaven, Fall River, Freetown, Marion, Mattapoisett, Melrose, that's interesting, north of Boston, New Bedford, Northbridge, which is quite a ways west, Norton, Plainville, Rehoboth, Seekonk, Somerset, Swansea, Westford, which is way up, 495, and then the Westport with the split. But it's interesting how many of these are Bristol County communities, and then you have the ones that are, well, Dedham's out there a bit, and that Douglas, that's out
That's
going
out of
to
Worcester? Yeah,
south of Worcester,
Yeah.
getting near the line,
yeah.
and Dracut, that's out there a bit.
That's up by Westford. Yeah.
Melrose, which is north of Boston, and Northbridge, which is practically on the Connecticut line down
Right-
there.
Right next to Douglas, yeah.
Yeah,
These towns that are not in the Serpent area heard about what we were doing with Serpent and asked to join with the aggregation. And, you know, since you can do that, well, you know, it's not prohibited, we just put them into this group.
when you go out again, are there more communities that will be coming into this group?
We are talking now with 13, 14 communities that are going through the DOER, Department of Energy Resources, and the Department of Public Utilities approval process. And we expect to have power flowing to them in January, this January. And depending upon whether they do a 1-year contract or 2-year contract, we could all go out together. If they did a 1-year contract, we could all go out together as one group. We have Melrose in this group, but Melrose actually, they did a little bit different mix. Most of the Serpent communities just wanted a basic plan, whereas Melrose put an additional 5% into their basic product with Massachusetts Class 1 RECs, because they want a little more green in that mix. So that was kind of something special for them.
Is that an option for everybody? Aggregation?
In the Serpent group, most of the Serpent group was just interested in lowering price. They weren't as interested in a green option.
Does that
the green
bring the price
option
up a little?
in this group is on an individual basis. We found that a lot of the towns around Boston were interested in doing a slice of green on top of what was basically a standard product. So we've got most of them in a mix of an additional 5%, which is at an affordable rate. So a lot of those communities were interested in that way to go. Again, renewal for this group, there could be municipalities in this group that say, hey, you know what, next time around, maybe we want a little more green in it, and we can work, some model for them where that can be done at an affordable rate. Because what we won the bid for the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, which has 101 communities around the greater Boston area. They go all the way from up in Rockport all the way down to about Cohasset, and they come around that horn around Boston. So we're dealing with a lot of those communities now, and a lot of those communities are looking for that little extra slice of green. So it's just a matter of getting enough RECs. We're dealing with Mass Energy Consumers Alliance, who is the leading sourcer of Massachusetts Class 1 RECs here in the Commonwealth. So we're dealing with them to get RECs into the mix so that there's some more green involved. But again, that's an individual choice from community to community.
Are there many municipal plants like TMLP? I know Norwood, I think, has one, and I think Middleborough has municipal.
In the Commonwealth, there are 47.
Really?
Yes, throughout the Commonwealth. There are 47 MLPs. The last one established in 1928. There are no new ones, because at that point, it was still economically feasible to buy the infrastructure, whereas today, it would be just too expensive to buy the infrastructure to form an MLP. So aggregation is basically an alternative to that, and essentially those MLPs are considered aggregations because they deal with their town on a town-wide basis. Do each of those communities generate power, or do they purchase power? Some of them have some generation.
Like Taunton generates.
They generate a bit. I think they buy some as well. Most of them buy.
Okay.
Okay. Most of them don't have their own generation. Most of them buy.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for a cheaper monthly electric bill.
We like to do it.
Thank you.
And again, my card has my cell phone number on it, so any questions, call me anytime. And again, we're going to be, as we get into the new year, we're going to have more communication with all the towns to let them know, how things are moving along. And after the next change, I'll come back and give you an update again. And then we'll start talking about renewing and how we can do that.
If the town of Dighton wanted a slice of that green energy, can I email you and you can kind of fill me in on the process?
Sure. It's just a matter of when we put when we go out to bid, we say, okay, we're not just going to do a standard, like this year, it's 12%, the amount of green in, no matter what kind of energy you buy, it's going to have 12% green. Next year, it'll be 13%, and it goes up 1% a year. But if you want something above that, you can offer your residents either, you know, a product that is a standard product that has an extra slice of green. What we're doing for Melrose, their standard product had an extra slice of green. Then they had two options. They had an option where there's just the RPS requirement, and we have 100% for those people that wanted to do 100% green. So you're satisfying all constituencies in that way. And it's also politically good because no one can come to the selectmen and say, hey, you know, you're forcing me to buy extra green. So
So Melrose, if I lived in Melrose, I'd have an option of what I wanted?
The standard product in Melrose has an additional 5% green in it. But from that, you can say, hey, you know what? I don't want the 5% green, so I'll go down just to the RPS standard.
Okay.
Which is basically only 2 mils less, because we were able to put that slice in at just 2 mils more than the basic price. And then there are people who want to do 100% green. And what they're doing a separate agreement with Mass Energy Consumers Alliance for about a premium of about 3.8 cents. They're totally green, 100%. So that's the way that works. And I think in Melrose we have 10 to 10,500 customers, and there are about 20 that opted down and about 200 that opted up.
Wow.
So most are at the standard, I'll
So
call
the
it.
rest of them are at that 5% green, additional green.
Because they chose as a town to opt in for that, right?
Exactly.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay, I understand now.
But
So-
again, their individual residents have a choice of
Yeah.
either staying with that or.
Is that the job of the Board of Selectmen, if a town decides to opt in for more green, to tell the residents that they have the choice to opt out of that and to kind of finagle the plan to what they want?
Well, again, what happens is there's a customer notification letter when the plan either starts or renews. And that has all the options, so people can do what they want.
On an individual basis,
Yes.
That's awesome.
not townwide, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, John, I must admit, prior to the start of this aggregation, I mean, there was never a dull meeting. I mean,
Okay.
everybody was informed, kept abreast of everything. You did a tremendous job then.
Right,
And again, we appreciate this update.
right.
It was quite a change for the people in this town, you know,
Sure.
because a lot of change is not accepted.
Absolutely.
But there's been very, very little negative feedback, and I think the overall consensus is they're looking forward to what's gonna happen the next time.
Okay, great.
Which is a good thing.
Sure.
It's a good thing.
And again, if there are any questions that come in, you can refer them to me.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll answer those questions if something comes up that you don't have the answer to. And if you have any questions, I'm always available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Have a good night.
You too.
You
Have a
too.
Merry Christmas.
You too. You got a bit of a ride.
Conway,
You got a bit of a ride.
I'm chairman of the select board over in Conway.
Oh, is that right? Oh, no kidding. What's the population?
We have 1,902.
Wow.
1,902. And we usually have a meeting that's usually like this, where there's nobody in, and we
Yeah.
go around a conference table. The other night, we had like a dozen people in it. It was like, wow, what's
Uh-oh.
going on?
What did we do wrong?
Believe me, that was part of it.
How many members on your board?
3.
3, okay. You have a town manager?
Yes, we do. We have a town administrator.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
He's been there now just 3 years.
oh, okay.
Oh, actually, 2.5 years. And that was a big step to go to a town administrator.
How far are you from, let's say, Holyoke?
We're, you know where Deerfield is?
Yes,
Okay, we're the western neighbor of Deerfield.
okay,
So we're 5 minutes from 91.
right,
And shoot down 91 and you're
Right.
in Holyoke.
right.
You know, we're 25 minutes from Holyoke.
Oh, okay. Well, I can remember, I'd have to go out to Deerfield, because UMass had a farm, a South Deerfield, they had a dairy farm out there. I can remember going out there. I remember seeing the signs for Conway. Is it 116 that goes up
Yes, it is.
through? Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, normally when I say Conway, Massachusetts, everybody thinks it's Conway, New Hampshire.
North Conway.
But if I mention to them, you know, do you know where Yankee Candle is? And like 90%
Yes.
of the people know. I say, hey, we're just the western neighbor. So that helps out. But anyway, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yep. Very good.
That was interesting.
Mhm.
So we're actually going to be using some Dighton power.
Oh, yeah. They're on standby with Plymouth all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Next on the agenda, a new business, review, discuss, and act on a formation of a Green Communities Grant Committee. And at this time, I'd like to turn this agenda item over to Mr. Zografis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that what is best for the town of Dighton is to try to become greener. Make Dighton green again. How are we going to do that? Well, through the Department of Energy Resources in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, they currently are accepting grant applications and have been for a couple years, as I understand, from various municipalities and cities to become green certified. Now, there is a process. There are bylaws that need to be adopted by the town at an annual town meeting. There are policies that need to be adopted by the Board of Selectmen that correspond to becoming more green. And the main overall goal of this, of course, through the grant application is to reduce a municipality or city's energy consumption by 20% over 5 years. And so I believe that the best way to achieve those goals is to form a committee, the Green Communities Grant Committee, with people, residents from all different swaths of backgrounds and educations, and everybody can take a little bit of the project, work together, and send in the application to the Department of Energy Resources. And if we do become a green certified community, we do get an award. And the award varies from different towns, of course. But the town of Easton did get an award. It was sizable, and they actually used their award to change all of the bulbs on their streetlights. So they changed them from fluorescent to LED energy efficient bulbs, and they save a ton of money every year. I do not know, obviously, since the committee has not been formed, what any potential award would be used for, but as you know, the regional school district is in the midst of various phases on the high school and the other schools. Part of that, phase 3, will involve solar energy panels in the parking lot. And so I think that it'd be possible to use the money for a good cause, and we certainly feel that the school is a good cause. So regardless of what happens with the award, it will still be good for the environment, it'll still be good for the town, and it'll still be good for the taxpayers to become green certified. Anytime you're consuming less energy, consumers are saving money.
I believe as you work through this, the expansion at the Aggie School is going to include green buildings. I know several years ago when they had the 4 projects, and the one that they funded was the sewer line, there was a science building proposed, and I think that building was going to be totally green. Excuse me. Now that they have their approval from the school building, I think that not only the science building, but a lot more is going to be built over there, because I think it's a $24 million expansion, as I understand it. Because, as I say, it's going to be more than just a science building. There's going to be buildings on the campus, so probably be good to get in touch with the Aggie School to find out who's involved with that.
Thank you.
We might get some information on that tomorrow night. We've got that budget hearing. So we can ask questions there. I expect the superintendent director to be there. And there will be, the county commissioners will be there, maybe some of the trustees, but we might be able to get a contact name.
Thank you.
Selectman Z, how would people that may be interested in getting on a committee like this, what would they have to do?
They will fill out a form or send an email to boardofselectmen@townofdighton.com with your interest, background, education, and any sort of relevant experience that one may have. And you can send it either to the office in person, or you can email that over to us. And we will, if the committee is formed this evening, select from the pool of applicants.
Very good, very good.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a good point. This is a good point in time for me to lead into something I was going to bring up is under reports, but since it's directly related to green, as you know, Mr. Ferry and I went to a meeting in Rentham today, and this was all about trying to improve recycling. We talked about clean recycling and what it means, ways to reduce contamination, grants that are available, and things of that nature. And it was Mass Recycle, and then I have the notes in my my notebook. But there is grant money available to communities to improve the amount of recycling, to reduce the amount of contamination of recycled goods, and everything is based on a point system. So we will get the information online, but we can go on there and see how we would earn points. Tom Ferry and I sat there saying, we do that already. We do that already. Oh, we can do this, we can do that. And for each point you earn, cities and towns are rated by population. So if you're within a certain population range, there is a rate per point. So let's assume Dighton is in the $1,000 range based on population. If we earn 6 points, it's $6,000, right? And they tell you how this money can be used, and various ways of doing this. And what's really interesting is that when they were talking about contamination of recyclables, and they gave us samples of different things that you try to encourage people not to do. The gentleman who manages solid waste for the city of Lowell was there, and he has like 103,000 I'll call them residents that he has to deal with, a lot of them living in multi-family units. It's not obviously rural, at least most of Lowell is not rural like Dighton is, but in any case, he talked about the various languages that they have to publish things in, and he gave us samples. And so one of the first things we have to do, we meaning Mr. Ferry and you and I, because I'm not going to be able to go to all of these meetings, because they normally meet, the next meeting is the second Wednesday in March, and they alternate between the Fisk Library in Rentham and the Middleborough Town Hall. And the second Wednesday of the month is normally MMA for me. So that's why we need you to get involved. But one of the things that the three of us need to do before the end of this year, so I've got to get this set up, we need to go to Covanta and take a tour and find out how our trash and recycling is processed, because this is a grant requirement. There's a couple of other things that we have to do, but definitely before the end of this calendar year, the applicant community, whoever's going to be taking care of the grant filing, must tour the facility. And you can go too if you want, but the main thing is, because I said, well, in this town, it's Board of Health. But the main thing is, you've got to tour it because you have to know exactly what's going on. And when they talked about contamination, I figured, oh, well, we know you don't dump in a can or half a can of oil, or you don't add cooking fat or dirty mayonnaise jars. Something as simple as a plastic bag that you get at the grocery store is considered a contaminant, because when all that trash gets into single stream and it gets sorted by the machine, those bags get in the machine and jam them up. So that, they consider that a contaminant. So their program is to educate people not to put those into recycling. Some people actually take plastic bags and bag their newspapers and magazines. Well, when it gets dumped, that's a glob going into the machine. You want them to fall loose. So if you use a brown paper bag, that's fine, except don't pack that bag so tight that it's not gonna, the stuff isn't gonna come out of it when it goes through the thing. You don't want globs, like a bag full of papers. So those are considered contaminants. So, the other thing we have to do is meet with our hauler and find out if in this town there are areas, like in Lowell, they were able to determine that of the in total population in the routes, and this does not include any commercial or businesses or the university. This is strictly households that this gentleman deals with. So we have to talk to our hauler and find out if there are any places in Dighton where there are either plastic bags turning up in the mix where they shouldn't be. And I'm not talking about the plastic bags we use for household trash. I'm talking about recyclables.
The grocery stuff?
Yeah. You're supposed to rinse out cans and bottles. A mayonnaise jar, you don't want traces of mayo in there, because if that gets into the works, that's a problem. You don't put cooking oil. You got to clean out these containers, which I think most people do, but again, the next step is talk to your waste hauler to find out if there are areas where they have to go back and say, well, you can't put this in there. One of the things that Tommy and I explained to them was that Dighton is pretty good about enforcing the regulation that, number one, do not put recyclables in the trash bag because we're not going to pick them up. Do not put trash into recyclables or other things that are not recyclable at the curb, because we're not going to pick them up. In Lowell, what they actually do, once they determine an area where there's problems, they actually have the gentleman that runs the program, and they have another 1 or 2 employees that will do spot checks, and they actually will leave, they have those carts that the machine picks up and dumps. The cart will be left there with the stuff in it, and the inspectors go, and they will leave a tag on it indicating what is wrong. If the owner is there, or whoever's putting the thing out, they will explain to them, you can't put this in here, or you can't put that in there. And he said it was very good. Quite often, a resident will call and say, there's a tag on my trash and on my recyclables, and they didn't take it, and I'm not sure what it means. And they will explain to him exactly why it wasn't taken, and they'll work with him. And he said most people, it's a matter of not understanding. They even actually have the language, I guess, that is the most difficult to explain what it is you're trying to do is Cambodian. And they actually have somebody who can translate. And the tags are printed with Cambodian. They also have more common languages like Spanish and Portuguese and things like that. But it's a very diverse community. But they are able to get the message across about the reason why we didn't pick this up is because, so they work with them. And if somebody is a chronic offender, you know, like I could care less, well, good luck, because they're not going to pick up your cart. Which creates another problem. So anyhow, Tommy, Mr. Ferry and I felt, in listening to this, we're in pretty good shape already. They gave us samples of material for educating children, and you have to do a minimum of 2 schools. And if you don't have 2 schools, and you only have 1, they have a way around that. But as I said to Mr. Ferry, we did very well with the local schools when we had to have an education program about stormwater. And I'm sure most of our schools already, because of the stormwater thing, and they saw that trash can go in there and contaminate a storm drain. But I think for the most part, our children and our schools are aware of what a contaminant is. And it would just be a matter of getting information to them about these other kinds of things that we wouldn't consider a contaminant, but those trash bags, the single-use trash bags that the supermarkets use. And to get people to take them back to the stores, and even Walmart will take them. There are very few chain grocery stores that will not take bags. I can only think of one, and it's a family-owned chain. But the big ones all have bins, and you just take whatever you got, no matter who it's from. But I know that Walmart also has the bins where you can drop off bags, anybody's bags. But anyhow, so along with the green communities, we're looking to improve total recycling, trash management, which obviously affects our landfill management, and obviously affects the environment and everything else. So I'll be working on getting a date to visit Covanta before the end of December, so that we have that taken care of.
Is there a date for this grant? Is it the same every year?
There's a whole schedule, and as I say, I've got it in my notes, and plus the presentations today are online, so we can get those, so you can look at those and see what was discussed. I think the deadline for filing the application is June 30th. There are deadlines along the way for getting the application, asking for help if you're in areas, time periods for earning points, and there were a couple of communities in the room that have already gotten money under this program. Because one of them said their Mass Recycle has dues, and for the next level, you become, that membership extends benefits to you from, I'm trying to think, the stewardship program. But anyhow, I think it's a total of $300, but they said you can use grant money to cover that. You can use grant money to pay for educational information. And I was showing Dean some of the things that I got, that a lady next to me from Braintree gave to me. And I had 2 emails from her when I got home tonight. So she sent a lot of information about how Braintree does this. And how they get it into the school, whether there's a program or presentation to children, and then they're asked to write essays. And they have little stickers, kind of an award, and they have these pencils that, I think it says Braintree Recycles to something, but if it's, let's say that it's deep purple, but when you hold it, body heat changes the color, and it turns into hot pink. And it's designed to get the kids' attention.
I used to make spoons like that, little plastic ones, and like Fruity Pebbles when I was a kid. And when you held it, nobody remember.
I never ate Fruity Pebbles.
Or Cocoa Pebbles.
Now we understand.
But anyhow, I said to Mr. Ferry, just like the kids, the older students got involved with observing a drain cleaning and understanding what stuff goes in there that Mother Nature washes in. And they made them aware, and obviously they take information home. Well, children that get the information about the recycling, they themselves, when they're at home, are going to be looking. As I said, if you look at one of the most successful campaigns for public health that was ever introduced, it was the anti-smoking campaigns, and I know you smoke, so, but anyhow.
Didn't work on me.
The anti-smoking campaigns in the lower grades, that, it was the children who were really concerned. And I know in my household, my husband was a smoker, and my son, as a little elementary school student, he would get upset when his father smoked, and then he would only smoke outside. But he still, my small son, our small son, would be on his case about smoking. And it was because he would say, we had this in school, and we saw this, and we saw that, and you're gonna get sick. And, you know, if you can reach the younger generation, just as whether it was smoking, or whether it was stormwater, but with this recycling thing.
Forest fires.
It's exactly Smokey the Bear. Now that I remember. But it's when you introduce it to them and you tell them why a plastic bag from the supermarket, they already know they're dangerous and you don't play with plastic bags or anything else. But when they hear you shouldn't throw them in the recycle bin because, you know, if they're clean bags, obviously they want you to take them back to the supermarket or the Walmart. And if they're dirty bags, they belong in the trash where they can be incinerated or however it's destroyed. But anyhow, so.
Well, I remember when I was living in Austin, just to tie this all together, actually plastic, there were many nights I chose to grocery shop in the evening because I was working during the day and there were less people at night, late at night. So I would go to the grocery store, never brought a bag, and every time I got to the end of the checkout, paid, they would say, you remember that there are no plastic bags allowed here. So they didn't even allow you to, they didn't give you anything. You had to bring your own bags. I would have to go home, come back with the bag, put everything in, so.
Well, I think too, I don't know if a lot of people realize that when you're at the checkout counter, if you don't have your own bags, you can say, do you have paper bags? Because Stop and Shop has them.
Shaw still has them, I'm sure.
Yes.
Taylor definitely has them.
I never understand putting the paper bag inside the plastic
Yeah,
bag.
I
No,
didn't
I
get that
don't want
either.
the plastic bags at all. Whole Foods has some very good, they even got little handles.
That's where I
on
got
them.
mine. Me and
Yeah.
my mom went
Whole
one time.
Foods
Yeah.
has some good paper
They do.
bags,
We
but
still use them.
most of the supermarkets, if you ask, do you have paper? I even ask at Filene's, excuse me, boy, am I dating myself, Macy's. Macy's,
Bargain basement.
yeah, always, I was, as a matter of fact, I was at a store, at Macy's, one day this week, and I said, could I have paper, please? And, you know, until they run out, because at Christmas time, they buy special Christmas bags and they go quickly. But most of the stores do have paper. Now, the other thing that was brought up is that probably within maybe 5 years or sooner, there will be no plastic shopping bags in Massachusetts, because communities are already banning them.
Yeah, I'm surprised more have it in the state.
I think it's Barrington, Rhode Island, Cambridge, Brookline, I think, that they don't have them, but we'll see how it all goes. But anyhow, so we'll be having you on another committee.
Totally fine.
So Karen, we're gonna have to, when we get that date set up, we're gonna have to post it, because there'll be at least 2 selectmen there. And if we can get Dean out of the office. Field trip.
Get me out of the courthouse.
Jeez, we won't go there. But anyhow, that's coming too, this the greening up of our trash program improvement, so.
So we have officially initiated the opening of receiving applications or letters of interest from any residents out there that may like to be a part of this Green Community Committee. Feel welcome. I know in the past few weeks, there's been mention from different people that, oh, geez, I'm looking forward to getting on another committee, this or that. Here's one that's pretty apropos to the times, so it could be a very interesting committee. Again, if you have questions, contact the Board of Selectmen's office, and hopefully Nancy or Mr. Z is here, and throw your name in the hat. You never know.
How many people do you think?
I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. So I'm thinking 5 to 7.
Yeah, that's usually a good committee.
Yeah. It will be important, and I just want anybody watching to know that because it does require some technical knowledge of building, some technical knowledge of zoning, planning, etc. It may not be the worst idea to have experts on the committee as well. Specifically, you know, I will, hopefully Jim Aguiar, our building commissioner, will put in an application, again, just for those technical expertise that might be required for certain parts of the application, and knowledge of, you know, there are building aspects to the application, the adoption of some sort of a stretch code, and that really is, I've never been a building commissioner or anything, so I would really hope that someone with Mr. Aguiar's expertise could be on that committee to shed some light on those technical aspects of the application.
Either that, or if you go with 5 or 7 residents and have Mr. Aguiar, Mr. Ferry, somebody from ZBA, somebody from Plan, as ad hoc members. We appointed Mr. Ferry as an ad hoc member to one of the study committees or something, simply because he's got so many of the hats to wear, but he was appointed an ad hoc member because of his background, and an ad hoc member doesn't vote, but they can provide expertise. So that's something worth considering. I'm thinking also, because of the number of people that showed up on Earth Day, and it was a lousy day, but people showed up to clean up certain areas of town. And there may be people who went out and cleaned up on that day who would be willing to serve on this, so that you could have 5 or 7 residents, but still have your ad hoc additional, whatever you need, which means you can bring them in at any time.
Great. So if you're watching, your town is calling for your service.
It sounds like the military,
It's official.
the drafting.
We want you.
Yeah, that's what it's, that's good, that's a great idea.
Should we vote officially to form the committee?
I think we need some candidates first. No, we've officially, you know,
Announce the
Initiated the
committee.
announced it,
Yes,
so
yes.
your next step would be to form the committee and approve the committee members.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
It's
you're
my
very
first
welcome.
rodeo.
No, it's not gonna be your last. Next on the agenda, which we're gonna allow Mr. Z to present this, review, discuss, and act on the dissemination of recorded public meetings policy. Copy number 12.
Okay, so I'm just gonna literally read the policy because it explains what it is, why it's a good idea, and why it will be effective. Town of Dighton Dissemination of Recorded Public Meetings Policy. Statement. In an effort to increase transparency of municipal affairs, the Board of Selectmen hereby adopts a policy to mandate uploading of all recorded public meetings to the Town of Dighton YouTube account within 7 days of said meeting to meet this goal. Purpose. Purpose of this policy is to establish a requirement that all recorded public meetings shall be uploaded to the Town of Dighton YouTube account within 7 days of said meeting. Applicability. This policy applies to all public meetings currently recorded by the Cable Television Committee. Guidelines. In order to make it easier for residents of the Town of Dighton to follow municipal affairs, all public meetings recorded by the Cable Television Committee shall be uploaded to the official Town of Dighton YouTube account within 7 days of said meeting. Exemptions. Boards, commissions, and committees whose public meetings are not currently recorded by the Cable Television Committee, for example, Electric Light District, Board of Assessors, Board of Library Trustees, etc., and there are more, shall be considered exempt from posting recordings to the Town of Dighton YouTube account. However, all boards, commissions, and committees shall be required to post their meeting minutes on their respective subpages on the Town of Dighton website within 7 days after approval at a public meeting. In addition, should the Cable Television Committee begin recording the aforementioned public meetings after the approval of this policy, the provisions of this policy shall apply, and those public meetings shall be posted to the Town of Dighton YouTube account. Questions? All questions regarding this policy may be directed to the Clerk of the Board of Selectmen, myself currently, who shall be the primary individual responsible for uploading recordings of public meetings to the Town of Dighton YouTube account. Should I not be the clerk in the future, I'm happy to show the future clerk the process of how to upload. Enforcement. The timely uploading of meeting minutes is a provisional requirement of an Act to Improve Public Records, Massachusetts Session Law, Chapter 121, which shall take effect on January 1st, 2017. The provisions of this law shall be enforced by the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. All questions pertaining to this law, public records, shall be addressed to either the town clerk or to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Public Records Division, or to the office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And just so you know, our town clerk is also our access records officer, a records access officer. And signatures.
Okay, so do we read this 3 times?
I
I
don't
thought
think
that was
so.
for fees.
That's just for
Fee
change of
increases.
fees.
Okay, okay,
And we can just have a motion to accept this.
okay. I'll make a motion to accept the policy as written.
I'm going to step down in second, since Mr. Z was the initiator of this. Is there any other discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. This policy has been adopted by this board unanimously.
And
Effective date,
tomorrow, 12/15.
12/15/16.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, since I've been back on the board, there has been discussion about how to get information out to the public, and we had a committee that worked on it. And I think there weren't these kinds of, I'll call them advances in communication that came out of that, but I think most people are aware that as a board, we've tried to do different things. I've been putting out on a Facebook page brief summaries of Board of Selectmen meetings, Board of Health meetings, responses to issues. If people have sent emails to me and they want to know about a particular issue, such as the speed limits on streets and things like that, I will put out general information. Now with the posting of actual videos of meetings, and with this, minutes, these are really good. We're still trying to come up with an appropriate method of communicating town meeting warrants to the public. They get posted, so forth and so on. We don't put the whole warrant in the newspaper anymore because not many people get the paper and it costs a fortune to do it. But we are still looking into other methods that other communities use. So this policy is one more step in trying to get information out to the public. And that's why this YouTube page is out there. That's why all of our meetings have been posted there. And some of the meetings that didn't make it onto Channel 9 have been on that YouTube page. So if you have a computer or if you go to the library, you can access those. But the whole thing is, we are still working to get information out to the public. And as I say, the one we're trying to resolve so that we reach as many people as possible in a manageable cost way is town meeting warrants. But anyhow, we'll keep working on that, but I commend my colleague, Mr. Zagrafis, for coming up with us.
Thank you. And I know not, for anybody watching who's on a committee who's not on the Town of Dighton website, I'm happy to work with you, whoever is the designated uploader of your committee, board, commission, to get that sub-page made for you with everyone's contact information so that you have a place to upload your agendas and meeting minutes. So I'm happy to work with anyone on that.
Next on the agenda, I ask my colleagues if they have any reports that they'd like to pass on.
I would just like to commend everybody, it's not a report, but I would like to commend everybody that was involved with Stuff the Cruiser last Saturday. It was very short notice. I think we read it on Wednesday night. I did put it out on my Facebook page, but it was, for the most part, I think, word of mouth. The response that we had during that very short period of time was, it was astounding. And mid-morning, we heard sirens, and 2 fire trucks and the ambulance showed up with call and full-time firefighters, EMTs, and they came in with approximately $800 worth of toys, and there was some clothing like hats and gloves and things like that. And in listening to Mr. Medeiros, one of the firefighters, he talked about going to Walmart and purchasing toys, and Walmart donated a gift card to help buy more toys, and people in the store who realized what they were doing and who they were buying these gifts for actually gave money to Mr. Medeiros to help fund this program. And so in no time, 2 cruises were full. They got a pickup truck and filled that. And I stopped at the police station around 5 o'clock Saturday night. All of the toys had been sorted by age. And if you think of a rectangular room, which is where we were, it was, if you think of a C, in the formation of a C, it was toys everywhere. There were tables, there were toys under the tables. The clothing was set up on one end, but there were toys for all ages, all kinds of toys. I particularly liked the Tonka trucks. Reminded me of when our son was small and had Tonkas. But there were basketballs, and I saw football and dolls and just so many things. But thank you, Dighton. What a turnout. I mean, it was, as I said, it was astounding. And there will be some very happy children in Dighton on Christmas morning because of their efforts.
I'd just like to add to what my fellow colleague just was talking about. Sitting on this board going on 6 years now, this was a first that I have witnessed of a joint venture that was initiated by one of our top public safety departments and the follow-up by another public safety department. This was the first, like I said, event of its kind that was initiated by the police department. All those that were involved not only should be commended, but they themselves were in awe at the response and the results of this event, along with the cooperation and the unbelievable response by the fire department. Never have I seen this occur in this town. I hope it's not only the first time, but the first time for many more. Ladies and gentlemen, you should all be proud of these police officers, all these fire personnel who went above and beyond to help kids who are in need that will not get Christmas presents this year. That if anyone that is aware of any may make a call confidentially to the fire department, ask for Mr. Maderas, or the police department, ask for Sergeant Cronin, and they'll be more than happy to be in touch with these needy children in the town. Again, this board, and I think I speak for all three of us, owe a fantastic amount of gratitude to the members of the police department and the fire department. Thank you guys very much, and ladies.
Yeah, and I will just say, since I got involved with town affairs, excuse me, going back to 2002 after I retired, I have never seen a joint effort like this. It was the first of a kind event. And the other thing is, I want to mention, the notice came out today that town reports are due in by the end of January. And I sent an email to everyone who's on that list, asking them to include a brief paragraph just before the closing of their reports, listing events that their departments have participated in, because I thought of it because of this joint program, but also, even without the joint program, I don't know how many people realize how many events, charities, fundraisers that our town employees participate in. They aren't compensated to do it. I will mention the muscular dystrophy boot collection, you know, when they're out there collecting money for the MDA, it's usually firefighters. The police and fire department that are all volunteers to get the Pan Mask bike riders through this town, and quite frankly have been commended by the PMC a number of times, because personally I know somebody, I have a team that rides, and they have always commented about the excellent service they get in the town of Dighton, both at the regional high school where the big lunch stop is, and also along the route. I mean, I remember going down to the bridge to meet my team, and obviously there were police officers out there volunteering. There was an ambulance parked at the Aggie School, and the our current acting chief was there. And there are so many things that go on, and there are road races and things like that. Pink It Up Dighton is another fundraiser. But anyhow, I did ask them, I asked the department heads to please mention events that their employees have participated in, because I think it's important for townspeople to understand they're not only employees of this town, obviously many of them are residents, and they do things without compensation to make things better in this town and also to help other people. So hopefully we will see some of that. Just a brief mention of what kind of things employees of this town do to help other people.
Thank you, Nancy. Do we have any acknowledgements?
We don't have any this week.
Oh, no.
Just the fire and police departments.
What more can we say? Again, tremendous job. My hats go off to every single one of them. No public input because Mr. Rourke left.
Oh, I would, under acknowledgements, and I think I mentioned this last week, but anyhow, special thanks to Ron Smith for putting together the DVD. It is appearing on Channel 9 at 5:30 every night except Wednesday nights. So if you haven't seen the story of Tuffy the Tug, or Tuffy the Train, and it's on YouTube too, I believe. So if you haven't seen it, try to catch it one night. I've heard comments about, obviously, small children love it, but I've also heard from some people that, the senior citizens that have seen it really enjoy it too. I think, speaking from experience, the older you get, I think the more you look back on the Christmas and holidays, and you think about when you were young, and you think about when you were raising your own children. And when you get to be a senior citizen, you look back on those things, and you really enjoy it because you remember the things that happened years ago, either as a parent or as a child, and what it was like in your own home. So that little train out there that's lit up every night, I think is a welcome reminder of Christmas past. So anyhow, thanks, Ron, and thanks, Miss Patches.
Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to end this with one more big thank you. I just can't say enough for the police department, the fire department, and of course, all the residents who very graciously reached out and brought presents, brought gift cards, donations that were handed over to the police department for additional gift cards if they so wanted to go get them. And everybody was just so gracious and so helpful this time of year. There's going to be a lot of happy underprivileged children in this town, and again, I want to thank you all from this board.
And it was multi-generational. I mean, there were small children with their parents, there were grandparents here.
Right.
And, I mean, that's a great lesson to teach small children.
People were bringing their pets. Remember the dog that
Yes.
was there? Taking
Yeah.
pictures with Santa?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really great.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Cable, as always, thank you very much, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.